Hoi hoi, he's Straw, I'm Parker, and together we are the Battle Hammer. Doodly-doo-doo-doo. As you can see, there are some grey miniatures over there in the background. Straw did a thing. Straw got Marvel Crisis Protocol core set and some bits after watching Into the Spider-Verse. I guess he wanted to spend some money on a new game, so he did. And of course that meant I had to buy some stuff as well. So I was just going to go through what I think of the miniatures, really. You know, posing. You know, I like how things are posed and how they can tell a little story. I don't have the core set. I've got some Asgardians, some Brotherhood and X-Men at the moment, and a Hulk. There are a couple more that I've got that I haven't put together yet, but I need to get this video up. So I'm just going to bring them up and show you what I think of them. So first of all, we have Thor, Prince of Asgard. I am loving this guy. You know, he's holding his hammer aloft, for he is worthy, showing off his muscular arms and everything. Proper power pose. I really like that there's some movement in his cape and in his little, you know, skirty bit. Really gives a sense of movement to the model, but also because he is Thor, the God of Thunder, obviously he's bringing the wind and such like around him. Cracking pose, you know, proper heroic, and also because he's got his arm up in there, it makes him look a bit taller. I like the little rubble on the base. One thing I have noticed is a lot of these models do have quite a lot of like tactical rocks and stuff like that they're standing on. At first it kind of annoyed me that there was so much of it, but now I think it's just because the bases are textured to be like you know, an American street sidewalk, as it were. Sometimes they don't. I don't think they would stick as well if they just had their feet exposed. So I think putting a tactical rock gives them that stability, and it allows you to do certain super cool poses. I'm just going to pick ones at random. Like this guy, Sabertooth. If you were just trying to put his foot directly on the base, that would be more difficult. Loving Sabertooth, loving all the abs, loving all the texture of the suit as well. Really like how you've got, you know, the texture of his muscles, but then you've got the stretch. Oh, well, you can see that, I don't know, like the stretch of his clothing, and the fur and everything else, and also you've got the lines of his suit, so you make it a bit easier to paint. They did that as a pair with Wolverine, and they're like, you know, facing off, which is pretty cool. This is back. These models, generally speaking, went together really well. There's only one that I had a bit of an issue with, but that's not a massive deal. No, they've gone together really well. I'm absolutely loving the texture on their like spandex outfits. Here we've got Wolvie. Looking at those balls. Again, lovely texture of the abs and the muscularity. I've gone for the masked face because why not? There's his bottom. Really cool. Really looking forward to getting some paint on these. One thing I am particularly looking forward to is, as they are individual models, you don't paint units of dudes. I can really put a lot of time into each model. Here we've got Toad. I am very nervous about his tongue. That looks incredibly delicate, and I was going to leave it off, but it's just too cool to leave off. Bleh, ready to lick you. I'm pouncing from spot to spot. Love that. He came in a pack with Magneto. I mean, the posing on these guys, I mean, they're just iconic, you know, properly iconic. Loving the texture again on his suit. That billowing cape. He's not actually, I thought he was touching at the feet, but he's not. It's that he's glued to the cape, and the cape is glued to this bit of scenery to make it look like he's floating around. Really, really cool stuff. Obviously, he's got the mask. I mean, it just makes me think of the 90s cartoon. You know, I was wondering what faction to get, and I thought, well, there are a couple I wanted to get. I ended up going with the X-Men and the Brotherhood, because if you get one set, you might as well get the other, because the Wolverine and whatnot, Wolverine and Sabertooth come together, and so do Mystique and Beast. Mystique! Speaking of Mystique, she's there looking all cool. Loving that pose. She's just, you know, she's in charge, you know, she's just calm, cool, collected. And that's one of the cool things. It's like getting these, they're not just iconic poses, they are, you know, they've got to represent the character. You get a couple of little bits of terrain which are actually part of the game with Magneto, that he kind of, there's like a little car door and he throws that at people, because why wouldn't you? But I mean, you know, Wolverine's had a lot of suits, but that is the iconic Wolverine suit, you know? And I think that was a thing they had to think about when they were designing the models for this. You have different iterations of the characters, but you have to make them look like their iconic selves. Here we've got the Hulk, he's a big boy. Bit of a gap in his zip area, which I can fill no problem at all, but that's about it. Because the first thing I thought of when I thought about this game, I really wanted to play Thor, Hulk, Loki. Loki is amazing. Loki's one of my favourites. Just think, you know, he's looking all, hey, I'm super cool, with his little frost blast thing on his base, pointing his scepter. So Loki, and then Valkyrie. Looks really nice. Proper mid pose, ready for action. And then I can do the end of Thor Ragnarok, because why wouldn't you want to do that, you know? Thor looking properly hench next to Valkyrie, as you can see, as well he should, because he's the Incredible Hulk. This was the scariest model I put together, and Angela, she is apparently, I had to look this up, she is a older sister of Thor in the comics, but she was kidnapped by the angels and trained to fight for God and heaven, but now she does her own thing and she's in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, but she's kind of flying on these ribbons, and she's not actually as delicate as she looks. I mean, she is delicate, I'm not, you know, I wouldn't want to throw her about, but you know, she's not as delicate as I thought she was going to be. Pretty cool. Not sure about this big weedy weapon here, but you know, she's going to be hardcore. We've got Hela here. The only case of a tiny piece of damage I had was when I snipped her horn off, but that's not the end of the world. I can fill that. Here we've got Enchantress, who came in with Angela, ready for some Asgardian shenanigans. I think her and Loki in the game have got lots of shenanigans they can do, moving people and mesmerising them. So yeah, I mean, they are fantastic models. They went together really well. The only one I had a bit of an issue with was Hulk and his pants, but I think that's not a massive problem. Really looking forward to getting these painted up and playing some games. I've got a couple more models. I've got Doctor Strange on the way, I've got Beast, and I've got Cyclops and Storm, which I'm going to kind of get on with now, but I need to get this video up. So it's not kind of an unboxing, but like, just, you know, just to get an idea of how cool is that. You know, he's hopping on this bit of wall. He just looks like iconic Toad from the comics, you know? I mean, that, and Magneto. Magneto is amazing. He could not be more Magneto-y if he tried, you know? It's just wicked. There's loads more that I really want, but you know, money is obviously a thing. If you want to help out the channel, donate to our Patreon account so we can get more Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. That'd be great. But also the new stuff coming out is fantastic. We've got Cable and Domino. We've got Wanda and Quicksilver. They've just revealed today, because it's AMG's thing this weekend. They just did the reveal of Kraven the Hunter and Lizard in one pack, I think. Mysterio and Carnage in another pack. A new Peter Parker and Black Cat. And obviously they've got almost, not infinite, but they've got so many things they can do, and they've already started re-releasing, not re-releasing characters, but you've got different versions of characters. So in the core box you've got, what's his name, Spider-Man, Dave Spider-Man. There's Enchantress hovering along on a mystic energy. And it's like a kid Peter Parker, you know, when he was in school. And then you're going to have a different Peter Parker who's like the amazing Peter Parker, who is Peter Parker in his prime, kind of peak Parker, if you will. So that doesn't mean we won't see alternates of, not every model, but I mean theoretically they could do it, you know. Obviously there has to be a design space for the game as well as for the models, but these are just stunning. I'm liking that slightly larger scale, that kind of 35mm, not too big. So expect to see some painting videos coming up at some point once I get around to these guys. So yeah, and obviously some gameplay once we get on that as well. Once we can, now that the vaccine's out and about, make sure you get a vaccine if you can. Vaccines are good. So yeah, make sure you can do that if you can, and then hopefully we'll be getting some Let's Plays and stuff like that up at some point in the near to distant future. And we'll never forget Hulk smash. I've heard he's mediocre in the game, but I don't care because he's the fucking Hulk. And then when I have him, Thor, Loki and Valkyrie, I can play the Immigrant Song in the background by Led Zeppelin and do as I charge into my opponent, dealing some heavy damage. And when I've got Magneto and all the X-Men, I can play the theme music for the 90s X-Men cartoon. Just love it. Love it, love it, love it. So glad that Straw's got into this game, because it means I can get into this game. Because I wanted to right from the start, and Straw's like, man, superheroes are rubbish. If you want to help us do more stuff for the channel, whether that be Marvel Crisis Protocol or otherwise, there are various ways you can do that. We've got links down below you can follow to affiliate links and wish lists and stuff like that. The number one thing you can do, well, yeah, one of the big things is we've got a Patreon account. You can donate as little as $1 a month. We don't do it for the money, but it takes money to do. So we really appreciate anything like that. Obviously things are hard for everyone at the moment, so if you can't, that's fine as well. But if you do nothing else, make sure you do this one thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it and want to subscribe. If you don't like it and don't want to subscribe, you don't have to like and subscribe, but we would like it if you liked and subscribed. And until next time, stay hammered.